The power of surrender. Stop chasing and start receiving. Have you ever noticed that the harder you chase something, the more it seems to slip away from you? You push, you strive, you go after your dreams with everything you've got. But what if I told you that the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything you've been working for begins to flow to you effortlessly? It's like a magnet. The more you try to force it to pull, the more it resists. But when you release the pressure and simply let it be, it naturally attracts what it's meant to. The same is true with life. When you let go, when you trust, the very things you've been chasing often come to you without effort. Think of a plant in a garden. You water it, you care for it, but if you obsessively check it every hour, overwater it, and never allow it space to grow on its own, you hinder its development. True growth happens when you give it room to breathe. The same principle applies to your goals. You can work hard, but it's only when you trust the process and surrender control that things begin to flourish. That's the power of surrendering to the natural flow. While you're busy chasing, life is waiting for you to pause and align with it. You have a choice: keep forcing things or trust that what's meant for you will come in its own time. When you stop forcing, the flow begins. The moment you release the need to control every outcome, you begin attracting what you truly desire with ease. So how do you manifest your desires without obsessing over when or how they'll come? How do you stop chasing, stop stressing, and still move forward with clarity and confidence? It begins with detaching from the outcome. Let's explore one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life: letting go of your attachment to results. It's easy to get fixated on achieving a specific goal, whether it's landing the perfect job, finding a relationship, or hitting a personal milestone. We tell ourselves that if we just focus hard enough, we can force it to happen. But the truth is, the more you obsess over the outcome, the more resistance you create. You add pressure, you begin to doubt, you lose connection with the present moment, and instead of acting with purpose, you react with anxiety. Real power comes from focusing on the process. Put your energy into your daily actions, your intentions, and your mindset, not the result. When you release the stress of needing things to happen a certain way, you move through life with clarity and calm. As Epictetus once said, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather wish that what happens as it should, and you will be happy. Trust the process. Let go of control. And watch how the things you've been chasing begin to come to you naturally. Master your mindset. Control your thoughts. Control your life. Let's dive into a powerful truth. Your thoughts shape your reality. Every day we are surrounded by distractions, worries, and outside pressures. But no matter what life throws at you, the most important thing you can control is your mindset. When you master your thoughts, you gain control over how you experience the world. A calm and focused mind has the power to attract solutions effortlessly. On the other hand, a scattered, anxious mind keeps you stuck in frustration and confusion. A positive mindset doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means facing challenges with clarity and purpose. Life will test you, but how you respond determines how you grow. When your thoughts are clear, you become more creative, resourceful, and open to new opportunities. You stop reacting out of fear and begin responding with calm confidence. This is where ancient Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that. Your peace, joy, and sense of fulfillment do not depend on outside circumstances. They depend on how you interpret what happens to you. When you control your thoughts, you control your perception. And when you shape your perception, you shape your experience. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, or negativity, it becomes harder to succeed or feel at peace. But if your thoughts are grounded in optimism, clarity, and strength, you naturally move closer to the life you want. Let me share a story. A woman I know, we'll call her Rachel, used to live in a constant state of stress. She was always busy, always anxious, always racing against the clock. She worried about work, the future, and whether she was doing enough. Eventually, the stress began to wear her down. One day, Rachel made a decision. Instead of letting stress control her life, she decided to master her mindset. She started practicing mindfulness. She began each day by calming her mind, focusing her thoughts, and reminding herself of what she could control: her actions, her attitude, and her presence. As she continued this daily practice, something shifted. She became less reactive, more focused, and more at peace. Challenges that once overwhelmed her became chances to grow. Instead of running from stress, she learned how to respond with strength and self-control. So how do you master your mindset? Start by becoming aware of your thoughts. Pay attention to what you tell yourself every day. Then reframe the negative. Instead of saying, "This is too hard, this is a challenge I will overcome." Finally, stay grounded in the present. Focus on what you can do right now. At the end of the day, your mindset is your most powerful tool. When you master your thoughts, you master your life. Trust in divine timing. Let life unfold naturally. Let's talk about one of the most important lessons in life, learning to trust in divine timing. In today's fast-paced world, it is easy to feel impatient. We want results now, we push harder, we try to make things happen faster. But the truth is, when we rush, we often miss the very opportunities and lessons that could help us grow. Some of the most powerful transformations happen not in the doing, but in the waiting. Growth requires space. Clarity requires stillness. The right opportunities arrive not when you force them, but when you are truly ready to receive them. The problem is that we have been conditioned to expect instant results. We live in a culture of fast food, fast answers, and immediate gratification. But the things that matter most, whether it's personal growth, lasting success, deep relationships, or inner peace, require time. You cannot rush wisdom, love, or maturity. These things must unfold at their own pace. Think of planting a seed. You water it, nourish it, and then wait. If you try to rush its growth by digging it up every day to check on it, you damage its potential. But when you trust in the process and give it time, it begins to grow on its own. Life works in much the same way. This is where Stoic wisdom reminds us of the bigger picture. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." And he was right. The things that are truly valuable, success, peace, character, are not created in a moment. They are built slowly, layer by layer, through patience and persistence. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, let's call her Sophie, was driven by her desire to succeed in her career. She worked hard, stayed up late, and constantly pushed herself to do more. But despite all her efforts, nothing seemed to move forward. She grew more frustrated with each passing day. Eventually, Sophie realized that her stress was not helping her. It was holding her back. She decided to take a different approach. She stepped back, focused on her own growth, and stopped trying to force things to happen. She improved her skills, strengthened her network, and started trusting that what was meant for her would arrive in time. And it did. Slowly but surely, the right opportunities began to appear. What once felt forced now flowed effortlessly. Sophie discovered that by trusting in the timing of life, she could move forward with peace and confidence. So how do you trust divine timing? First, release the need to control. Let go of the pressure to force outcomes. Second, invest in your own growth. Focus on becoming the kind of person who is ready to receive what you want. And finally, be patient. Understand that everything has its perfect time. When you surrender to the timing of life, you stop chasing and start receiving. The right things will come exactly when they are meant to. Act with purpose, not desperation. Let's talk about something that can either attract success or push it away. The difference between acting with purpose and acting out of desperation. When life feels uncertain, or when you feel like time is slipping through your fingers, it is tempting to act out of panic. You rush, you scramble, you push harder, hoping to force things into place. But here's the truth. Desperation repels what you want. When your energy is frantic or anxious, you are not aligned with confidence or clarity. You may be busy, but your actions lack grounding, and people can feel that. The energy of desperation is loud, scattered, and unfocused. It signals fear rather than belief. True success does not come from rushing. It comes from moving with intention. Calm, purposeful action carries a different weight. It draws the right people, opportunities, and outcomes to you. When you are rooted in purpose, your steps are steady. You act from a place of inner knowing, not external pressure. Here is the reality. You do not need to chase. You need to align. When you know who you are and where you are going, you do not have to rush. You simply take the next right step with faith that each move is taking you closer to your goal. This is exactly what Stoic wisdom teaches. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In other words, define your identity and your values first. Get clear on what you truly want. Then let your actions reflect that clarity. When you act from your core instead of your fears, you move with power. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Jack, was trying to advance in his career. He was chasing every opportunity, sending out countless applications trying to get noticed. But nothing was working. He felt burned out, confused, and discouraged. One day, Jack realized that his actions were rooted in desperation. He was trying to move fast without direction. So he paused. He took time to reflect on what he truly wanted. He reconnected with his purpose, his values, and his long-term vision. From there, he began taking calm, focused steps aligned with that purpose. Slowly but surely, things started to change. The right opportunities came to him not because he chased them, but because he acted with clarity and belief. So how can you act with purpose and not desperation? First, define your values. Ask yourself who you want to become and why your goals matter. Second, trust the process. Know that small intentional steps will take you farther than rushed reactive ones. And finally, carry quiet confidence. Believe in your vision even if the results take time. At the end of the day, success is not about speed. It is about alignment. When your actions come from purpose instead of panic, life begins to align with you. Let go of control. Find freedom and surrender. Let's talk about one of the most freeing truths you can embrace, learning to let go of control. In a world where we are taught to plan, predict, and manage everything, it is easy to fall into the trap of trying to control every detail of life. But the more you try to control what is beyond your reach, the more stress and frustration you create for yourself. Think about it. You cannot control how others behave. You cannot control the future. You cannot control the unexpected turns life may take. What you can control is your mindset, your attitude, and how you choose to respond. That is where your real power lies. Worrying about things you cannot change only drains your energy. It keeps you stuck in fear, imagining scenarios that may never happen. And while you are caught up in that cycle, you miss the present moment, the only place where real peace and progress exist. When you begin to focus on mastering yourself instead of everything around you, life becomes lighter. You stop wasting time trying to fix the unfixable. You stop battling what is out of your hands. Instead, you reclaim your focus, direct your energy inward, and move through life with clarity and calm. This is where Stoic wisdom offers deep insight. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In other words, true freedom comes when you stop trying to control what you were never meant to. It comes from releasing the grip on outcomes, people, and circumstances. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Anna, was constantly worried about how others perceived her. She feared judgment, feared failure, and tried to plan every step of her life down to the smallest detail. But the more she tried to control everything, the more overwhelmed and stuck she felt. One day, Anna decided to shift her focus. She began to work on herself, not her surroundings. She focused on her routines, her habits, her mindset. Slowly, she let go of the need to manage everyone's expectations. She stopped fearing the unknown and began embracing it. Over time, she felt more peaceful and more in control of what truly mattered herself. So how can you begin letting go of control? First, identify what is within your control, your thoughts, actions, and attitude. Focus on mastering those. Second, release your grip on outcomes. Accept that not everything will go as planned, and that is okay. Finally, learn to embrace uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, but that is where growth and discovery happen. At the end of the day, letting go is not giving up. It is choosing peace over pressure. When you stop trying to control everything, you begin to live freely. Trust yourself, trust the process, and let life unfold as it is meant to. Embody the energy of abundance. Live as if you already have it. Let's talk about one of the most transformative shifts you can make in your own life, living in the energy of abundance. So often people spend their lives chasing what they think they lack. More money, more success, more recognition. But the more you chase, the more you reinforce the belief that you do not have enough. The real secret is this: abundance begins with how you think and feel, not with what you own. When you live as if you already have everything you need, your energy shifts. You stop acting from a place of scarcity, and you begin to attract more of what you want naturally and effortlessly. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the way you move through the world all change when you believe you are already enough. When you embody abundance, you become more confident, more present, and more magnetic. You stop waiting for the outside world to validate your worth, and instead you begin creating your reality from the inside out. This is where Stoic wisdom offers profound insight. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." That quote holds timeless truth. Abundance is not about piling up material things. It is about needing less and appreciating more. It is about realizing that everything you need to live a fulfilling life is already within you. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him James, spent years chasing success. He believed that once he reached a certain income or status, he would finally feel fulfilled. But no matter how much he achieved, it never felt like enough. He was always in pursuit, always feeling behind. One day, James decided to change his approach. He began practicing gratitude every morning. He focused on the things he already had: his health, his skills, his relationships. Slowly, his mindset shifted. He stopped chasing and started appreciating. And something unexpected happened. The more he lived with gratitude and confidence, the more opportunities came his way. It was as if life was responding to his new energy. So how do you embody the energy of abundance? First, practice gratitude. Start and end your day by acknowledging what is already good in your life. Second, act as if you already are the person you want to become. Walk with confidence. Speak with belief. Make decisions from a place of fullness, not lack. And third, let go of the idea that you need more to be enough. Begin living like you already are. At the end of the day, abundance is not something you chase. It is something you choose. When you embody abundance, you align with the flow of life. You begin to attract success, peace, and fulfillment, not because you are searching for it, but because you are living it. Take aligned action and let go. Trust the process after you move. Let's explore one of the most important and often overlooked principles of success: take aligned action, then let go. In our culture, we are taught to push hard, chase goals relentlessly, and never slow down. We believe that if we work more, stress more, and control every detail, success will come faster. But often the opposite is true. When you take intentional, aligned action and then release your grip on the outcome, you create space for results to unfold naturally. You still do the work, you show up fully, but you stop obsessing over when and how the payoff will come. That shift in energy is what makes all the difference. The truth is, the more you try to force results, the more resistance you create. It becomes harder to think clearly, to notice opportunities, and to feel any sense of peace. On the other hand, when your actions are rooted in clarity and purpose, and you trust that the right results will follow you, move in harmony with life. This is not about sitting back and doing nothing. It is about doing your part and then letting go of what is beyond your control. When your energy is grounded and your intentions are clear, you no longer need to chase. You attract. This principle is deeply reflected in Stoic wisdom. Seneca once said, "Effort and patience will achieve more than force and anxiety." That statement holds so much truth. You can hustle with fear, or you can move with focus and trust. The second path may feel slower, but it leads to deeper, more sustainable success. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Grace, was doing everything she could to grow her business. She worked long hours, chased every client, and stressed over every detail. But despite her efforts, she saw little progress and felt constantly drained. Eventually, a mentor gave her advice that changed everything. Do what you know is right, then let go of the outcome. Grace took that to heart. She stopped chasing and began acting from alignment. She focused on offering real value, building relationships, and trusting that what was meant for her would come. Within a few months, things began to shift. New opportunities came her way. Clients showed up, and most importantly, she felt at peace. The results flowed not because she forced them, but because she stopped resisting. So how can you take aligned action and let go? First, be intentional. Know why you are doing what you are doing. Let your actions come from your purpose, not from fear. Second, be patient. Results take time, and the best ones often arrive when you least expect them. Finally, release the need to control. Trust that your effort is enough. At the end of the day, the combination of clear action and calm surrender is the true formula for lasting success. Do the work, let go, and let life meet you halfway. If there's one powerful lesson to apply to your life right now, it's this: stop chasing and start trusting. Life doesn't respond well to desperation, control, or fear. Instead, it flows best when you act with calm purpose and let go of the need to force outcomes. Whether you're pursuing success, love, or personal growth, shift your focus from obsessing over results to aligning with what truly matters: your mindset, your daily habits, and your inner peace. Master your thoughts, take intentional action, and release the pressure to control everything. Practice gratitude for what you already have, and embody the energy of someone who knows they are already enough. Let patience become your strength, not your weakness. The moment you stop trying to push life into your timeline and instead trust in divine timing, things begin to align naturally. You'll feel lighter, clearer, and more in tune with opportunities that are right for you. Start showing up each day as your best self, not because you're desperate for change, but because you believe in your direction. That belief, that quiet confidence, is what draws everything you're seeking closer. Let go, trust more, and watch how life begins to respond.